skeptical of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. Well, many of us have lost people close to us that we loved, and in the time after they pass away, we'll have dreams. And I know when my mom passed away, her birthday was November 11th, and I would see 11:11 on the clock, and it felt like she was saying hi to me. It was just her way of communicating to let me know she was okay. And it was a special time. And this was way before all these synchronicities of late have been happening. I've been getting all sorts of synchronicities these days, but this was decades ago when she passed away. And so, yeah, I'd have dreams and see her in my dreams. And, and then my father passed away, I don't know, about a decade ago. 15 years ago, and same thing. I'd have dreams about him, and I've had dreams about both of them ever since. But what happens when those dreams become more of a two-way conversation? When real world events are revealed within those dreams? And what happens when the person you're communicating with that passed away actually has you get up and write things down? And it becomes a very real situation. And, when it first happens, of course, you would wonder, is this just a coping mechanism? But at some point, you would have to realize that the information you received is very real information, and it's an incredible thing that's happening. Now, I've never had that happen, but today's guest, Angela from Calgary, Canada, lost her son at the age of 26 in October of 2016. And 4 months later, she started receiving information of this sort. Uh, she got information about President Trump, which he had just been in office for just a few weeks at the time of her first communication with her son. And she also got information about the cabal, the Ascension, the big event coming to Earth, even planet Nibiru and UFOs, chemtrails, and even the Mandela effect. So stay tuned while we talk to Angela about her experience. Welcome, Angela, to the show.
You.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. We've been talking for a while, and I think you have a wonderful story. I just did an intro explaining how your son passed away in October, and you started getting contacts with him in February. Can you share that with me, with us?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would love to share this with you. His name was Christopher. He was 26. He's my middle child out of three boys. And he passed away October 8th, 2016, suddenly and tragically. And yeah, it was very hard to get over that. And I mean, it's, you don't want to wish this upon your worst enemy. I've done a lot of grieving, but I'm okay now. And I just wanted to get out the message that almost exactly 4 months after he passed away, he contacted me. I was laying on the couch and I was kind of in and out of la la land, and all of a sudden I could telepathically hear his voice, I could feel his spirit, I could see his big smile, and he gave me so much information. It was downloaded into me so fast and furious. I've never had anything like that, like an experience like that before, where I got so much information in 5 minutes that it would take me like an hour to write down. It was just amazing. And so I asked him a whole ton of questions, personal questions, how he passed away, what it was like, and all that stuff. But and I did ask him, and thank God I wrote all this down. So I did ask him, what does it look like on the other side? And so he said, same as Earth, but a million times more magical with brilliant colors. There's no pain, only unconditional love and joy. Sorry.
It's
You can
okay.
manifest only unconditional love and joy. And he said you can manifest anything you want only by thinking about it, and then it appears in front of you. And then I asked him, do you have to eat over there? And he said, only if you want to, and if you miss having a yummy meal like you did on Earth, but you don't need food to live or survive. And he said, you manifest it with your thoughts too, instantly, and no animals get killed for it. A steak will taste like a steak on earth, but it's not made from an animal. It's just your thoughts that create it. And then I asked him, are we really stuck down here in a computer simulated program like a prison matrix? And he said, yes, Earth, where you are, is a huge simulator, so we could all express ourselves inside the things we have created together. But it all got hijacked eons ago by dark, nasty bullies who wanted to control everything. They made us all into slaves. They spread like a dark cancer on Earth. But they are all being taken out now because it is cancerous and affecting the rest of the systems in the galaxies. We are all connected, and so this cancer, in capital letters, this cancer has to go now before it destroys everything. This is happening now on Earth. That's why there's so much chaos. They don't want to leave as they feed off our low emotions of fear and anger and pain and grief. It's all coming to an end soon. Um,
That is amazing. I mean, think about that. This was February. This was almost a year ago, and now we see all of this stuff happening. That alone validates this information. But what else did he tell you?
so I did. So I did say to him, "What do you do all day? Do you get bored?" And he says, "No, mom." And he's chuckling. He was a very joyful light worker, spread love and light everywhere, trying to help everybody. So he's going, "No, mom. I still build things and visit people and have fun. There are no days or nights. It's all just a wonderful now moment. I gotta go, mom. I gotta go." And then I said to him, "Don't go. Stay for a bit longer." And then he said, "I'm sorry, mom. I gotta go. I gotta go. My friend is waiting. I gotta go." And he said it very urgently and impatiently, like he had to go pee or something. And trust me, I wanted to carry on with the conversation because I had a million questions, but he kept saying, "I gotta go. I gotta go." And I said to him, "Where do you have to go?" And he said, "My friend and I are busy building white healing domes. I'm still in construction, LOL," he said, because he used to be in construction when he was living here on the earth. And so I said to him, "Healing domes for what? And why do you have to build them when you can manifest everything else instantly by just using your thoughts?" And then he said, "We have to build them because a lot of detail and thought has to go into it. It's a big project, and many of us are creating it together. The white healing domes are for a lot of people and souls that will be crossing over to our side soon, all at the same time. That's why we have to hurry and work at it together." And then he downloaded a picture, and it was so crystal clear. It wasn't like dreaming, it was like I'm right there. He downloaded a picture mentally into my brain of these healing domes, and it was me hovering at bird's eye view over this lush green meadow that was like neon green, vibrant. I've never seen anything like that before. And it was covered in like 25, 30 white healing domes that looked like white mushrooms from above there, like a field of mushrooms. Um, and I could tell by the size it would roughly hold about 25 patients. And then he said, "I gotta go, mom. I'm sorry." And poof, he was gone. And then I tried to contact him again night after night, and nothing, 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 until February 14th, Valentine's Day. Um, I was going to bed, and he, I almost, like, when you're just starting to doze off, and you're just like almost in la la land, like the perfect meditative state.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I got a lot of downloads on Valentine's Day, and that are actually very, very important for the times that we are in right now. The questions, you have to go through my notes. Thank God I wrote this down. So I asked him, how, tell me why or how so many people would cross over. Is it because of World War III around the corner? And he was very adamant, and he said, "No, no, 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 no war, no World War III, not allowed. it may look like that from the outside, and that Donald Trump wants World War III, but he's only trying to turn this ship around, and it's making huge waves, but it's shaking the fleas off the dog, and the rats are jumping ship. He's cleaning this mess up. They, in capital letters, meaning the Illuminati, whatever, they want to push for World War III because they are desperate and want to, in capital letters, harvest. They want to harvest as many souls as possible before they have to leave. No war. Don't worry. It will get a bit more ugly for a bit longer, but not much. It's cleanup time, he said. and
This is so wild because this is exactly what we're seeing. And like I said, this is February of 2017 before any of the stuff even really that we see in the news was even really happening. I mean, no Q and all this other stuff and not
mhm.
no indictments yet. And it's just amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, and we kind of tried to figure out last night, you and I, when exactly Donald Trump started presidency, right? And it was just a few weeks before. So nobody even, could imagine that this was going to happen. That Donald Trump, everybody thought Donald Trump was going to start World War III, and then I got all these messages, and over the last year, we've actually seen how much of a cleanup Donald Trump has been doing. So, and this is why it's confirmation for me because I'm not really into politics, and why would I be getting messages from my son about Donald Trump and world events when, like I said, I lost my mom and my dad, and they've been gone a long time, and I never got any information. I just had them show up in dreams. And so for my son to, give me all this world event information, it's confirmation that this is messages that need to get out. He wants this to be heard.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't even president for a month at this point because he was
Mhm.
inaugurated on January 20th, I believe it was. So,
Yeah. So after he told me, Donald Trump is getting the rats off the ship and the fleas jumping off the dog, and this cancer needs to be taken out before it spreads into all the other galaxies. He said it's cleanup time, and then I said to him, "Oh, polar flip or Nibiru hitting us?" And he said, "No, actually, you need to take the word fear out of Nibiru, Mom." And I said to him, "Well, like, what do you mean?" And he said, Nibiru, it's a planet that will play a big part in the cosmic galactic dance that is coming soon. And again, I said, what are you talking about? And he said, I'm just reading his notes here. Let's just say, how every August you get a ton of meteor showers, and always on my birthday, he said, because it was his birthday in August, and fireworks. And he said, well, take that and multiply that by 1,000,000. And he said the players are taking their positions for this cosmic game, this grand event. Many planets are ascending and moving up alongside with planet Earth. And so I asked him, what are you talking about? The players are taking their positions for this cosmic dance. What are you talking about? Which players? And then he said to me, the players meaning planets. So this meteor showers, so-called, times 1,000,000, plus fireworks and everything you can imagine in the sky, is actually going to be made of stars and planets that will show up for this. He calls it this cosmic game, this grand event, and cosmic galactic dance, he also calls it. So that was really cool. And then I said to him, you mean all of these souls crossing over soon is from the Ascension process? Is it true the whole planet is moving into 5D? And then he said, yes, it's what you and your new age hippie friends have been preaching about all these years. This sounds so much like him. I know you tried to wake me up and I thought you were a conspiracy nut, but now I see the big picture. All the planets are moving up. We are all shifting together. Okay, so my next question for him was, what about UFOs? And he said, I need another 2 hours just to talk about them, Mom. I know I always asked you about cloud ships. Like whenever we were driving in a car and I saw clouds that looked like UFOs, I always said to him, look, it's a cloud ship. You're just disguising as clouds. And he's like, yeah, sure, Mom. He never believed any of my metaphysical stuff, ironically, because he was totally into quantum physics. And we talked for hours about quantum physics and Einstein's string theory, everything like that. And I was more into the metaphysical stuff. And he always joked when he came over, oh, Mom, you and your angels and crystals and incense and Jesus pictures all over the place. He kind of made fun of me, actually. So for him to talk about this, this
That's
ascension
so
process,
that's so funny because
yeah.
I've thought the same thing with clouds. I'm like, that is totally a ship. So he actually validated that information.
Yeah, he said that the UFOs were real. And then I asked him, well, will they evacuate us? There are so many sightings now. And then he said, well, I don't really see any humans evacuated onto ships, as that would traumatize them even more. Right now, there are tons from all different star systems around Earth, mostly watching and protecting and keeping their eyes on any nuclear facilities or missiles, as well as checking for space to keep us protected. Then they are all gathering here to watch the big show. And I said to him, what do you mean, big show? And he said, okay, Mom, kind of like saying you give birth to your firstborn in a hospital, and every one of your family members is in that room with you to watch this miraculous birth because they're all very excited for this event. Well, so it's like that. UFOs come to watch Earth give birth, but the planet itself will not be destroyed by war or Nibiru. And then I asked him about the healing domes that he's building over there. And he said, like, I asked him what they look like inside. And he said, completely magical. Imagine being inside an orb, like an observatory, where when you lay down as a patient at night, you see the sky with stars on the ceiling, and during the day, at the ceiling of his dome, you see blue sky and white puffy clouds. And then he says, no chemtrails, Mom, ha ha. Because I always told him about chemtrails, and he's like, yeah, sure, Mom. And then he carries on, plus there's rainbows and sunshine you can see. Okay, Mom, take all the New Age crystal stores in the world with all their energy, crystals, angels, incense, New Age music, healing colors and scents, and stick them all into one healing dome. Then add little water fountains, birds, butterflies, dragonflies, fairies, sparkles, and sprinkles, and you get the idea of healing domes. Sorry, that's his words, not mine.
That's so funny.
Let me see if there's any more, because the rest is kind of going into personal questions. I did ask him, how do I know all this info is for real? And he says, Mom, I hate to say I did lie to you a few times while alive on Earth, mostly about money and stuff, so you don't worry. But this time I need you to trust me. I am not shitting you with any of this. Excuse my language, but that's what he said. And then I said to him, how long till we all reunite again? And he said, okay, Mom, time is so hard to nail down for us from up here where there's only the now moment. It's like scooping up a handful of water. And he actually showed me a download of it, two hands coming together and scooping up water. So he says, it's like scooping up a handful of water and asking me how many drops of water are in there. Little ones, medium ones, big drops. I don't know how much longer. Months, not years, is all I keep hearing. He did also jokingly say that Jesus is not going to come down on a cloud to save us. He's actually going to be more like the Walmart greeter when we all cross over.
He actually said the Walmart greeter thing.
He actually said the Walmart greeter, yeah.
Didn't you say
Um,
last night when we were speaking, you said that he called the asleep people the Walmart people?
oh, yeah, he called them the Walmart people, and he said that the reason for the healing domes is because 1 minute they will be sitting on the couch, drinking beer, eating chips, watching a hockey game, and a minute later they will be in 5D and they're all gonna go WTF. And I don't want to say it the way he said it, but you can go figure it out. And he said, WTF, what am I doing here in this healing dome? And they're going to be so traumatized about what happened. And he was, he kept saying over and over that so many, he actually said an influx of souls is crossing over all at the same time. And this is why they had to work so hard and get going on the healing domes and build them to be ready for when this big, you know, deluge of souls is arriving and they don't know what hit them. They're all confused. What happened?
I can see that being very confusing for people that aren't awake and aren't even looking into this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So what I did is just to get confirmation that I'm not making this stuff up, even though he said to me, I'm not kidding you, I'm not, I did email Alexandra Matters from galacticconnection.com and I explained to her what happened and all the information I got. And so I'm just going to read one little blurb, if that's okay. She said to me, remember, this is the time between worlds, and your son chose to work in another reality, more conducive. Do like I am doing and begin speaking to his higher self at all time. He will give you much clarity in why he chose this now and how it will ultimately assist you when you find the wisdom behind it. From my heart to yours, my friend, sending you a huge hug. Love, Alexandra. So
Oh, that
that
was
was
so sweeter, and that was from galacticconnection.com. You've sent me a
yeah,
lot of great information. I've even done a few videos on some of the stuff that you've sent me from that
yeah,
website.
exactly. And so what I did is after I got the message about the healing domes and the download with the picture, I immediately went on the internet and Googled healing domes, and I did find pictures of it, and it looked exactly like what he showed me. And so I sent that information and the pictures of the healing domes to Alexandra in another email. We emailed each other back and forth about 8 times, which I'm very honored and humbled because she gets a million emails a day. So to get something private like this, it's amazing. So I did send her the information, what I just told you about the healing domes and all the events, and then she writes back, Angela, please don't be hesitant anymore about like some more stuff, basically. This email was so amazingly confirming, and she writes confirming in capital letters. This email was so amazingly confirming, and your son was used as a vehicle to deliver this to me. And then she said, long ago, and I'm just reading her email right now. So, long ago, when I was in bed for 3 years after a horrific car accident, I saw a very clear image, capital letters, very clear image of a future project I was to be involved in. It looked exactly like these domes. The difference was the building is shaped like the image below, and she sent me a picture of an image. And then she carries on saying, there were multiple domes that from top down looked kind of like the above picture, with each leg representing a dome. I was told I was overseeing the building and design of these, and here you are. So glad you have received some support from the other side. Just remember, it won't be long before you are truly with him again. That is the coolest part, that he exited sooner due to his calling. Keep me posted and please thank him for this message. Let him know I am open to receiving anything he feels is important. Love, Alexandra.
That's awesome. So, wow, that is just mind blowing. So she actually, that was like almost like he delivered a message through you to her that was confirmation for what she'd received before.
Exactly. So it was actually confirmation for the two of us, which was amazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so a few months after that, I had a client on my table for massage, and I've never met her before. It's not like we hang out and we're friends. And she is actually a medium psychic who works here in town or in the city of Calgary, and she works hand in hand with the police to find missing children and missing people. So she actually used to work in America as well, um, to find missing children and stuff. So I'm telling her all this information while I'm giving her the massage, and she said to me, all the messages are dead on. Like she knows it's not made up stuff. And at the very end, I said to her, I should maybe like really go see a medium. Maybe I should come see you to get more, information from my son. And at that point, she said to me, Angela, don't be silly. Why would you want to waste your money to get a medium if you have direct contact and get direct information and downloads from your son like this? So, I mean, she could have easily taken that opportunity and said, yeah, come see me for $200 an hour, right? But she said, no, you don't need me. You get direct information from him.
And that's awesome. And that's the other thing. If you go to a medium, you never know if they're really getting something or if they're just telling you that and, taking you for your money or whatever. But you've actually got it directly from the source. And the downloads, there's really, you couldn't do that through a medium, really.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true, right?
So that was two different contacts in February.
hmm
And then where did it go from there? Was it June?
Um, yeah, you know what? I did like every night I try to connect with him, right? And nothing, nothing, nothing. I get nothing. And then honestly, like when I don't even try and I'm just like drifting off to sleep, that's when he comes through and it's like, Mom, Mom. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, when I got that big download February 14th, Valentine's Day of 2017, with all the world events and Donald Trump and all that, um, I was almost falling asleep. And he said to me, Mom, very stern, Mom, get a pen and paper, write this down right now. You need to write this down because you will have forgotten most of it in the morning. And so I'm like, okay, okay. And I get out of bed and I write it all down. And then the next morning, I look at it and I'm like, holy cow, I'm so glad I wrote this down because half of it I've forgotten, or I thought maybe I'm dreaming about this or what, right? So I'm so glad he pushed me, because, yeah, he's very adamant that we get this information out. Yeah, so like I tried to connect with him every night and then nothing until the beginning of June, which was really, really amazing. Um, it's gonna just gonna take a few minutes to explain. Like when I get these downloads, it's hard to explain. It's information that gets like downloaded into my brain so fast. Like in 5 minutes, I get information that would take me like an hour to write down, and with pictures and emotions behind it. So, I mean, this is how I imagine your life review is going to be from what the sources and books I've heard from near-death experiences when people cross over and they watch their review. Um, Life review with the guides, and they go through all the stages of what happened, and you feel every emotion, you see every picture, and it's so fast that like in 5 minutes you have like the whole life downloaded, right? So this is like when he comes through. So the beginning of June, he's knocking on my brain, Mom, I just wanted to let you know where you guys are on planet Earth right now in terms of time frame and events. And so he said to me, imagine you go to a symphony orchestra for a really amazing classical concert, and you have already gone a million times. You know what it's like to go there, what happens, and you take a friend with you, and that friend has never, ever, ever gone to see a concert, doesn't know what to expect when you get there, and you yourself, who has seen so many concerts, you represent the awake people. This friend that you're taking, that's never gone there and totally clueless, that represents the people that are asleep on this planet still. So he said to me, okay, Mom, so you take your best friend to this concert that's never gone. You go inside the concert hall, you get your balcony up there, and you look below, and there's the orchestra with tons of millions of instruments, and they're all rehearsing, and it sounds like crap, excuse my French. It sounds like chaos. It sounds horrible. They're all rehearsing their instruments. They're all warming up their instruments. People are running all over the place like crazy ants. and your friend is sitting next to you going, oh my God, that sounds so horrible. Let me out of here. This is crazy. This is just devil's work. I can't stand this. It's horrible. How can this be nice? And you tell your friend, no, no, sit down. And you take their hand and you sit them down, you calm them down, and you say, wait, the best is yet to come. And so your friend is kind of like, okay, and I'm sitting there all like, oh my God, I just want to get out of here. This is horrible. And then the orchestra takes about 10-15 minutes to finish warming up the instruments and rehearsing. And then all of a sudden, the lights dim and it gets dead silent. And your friend again is freaking out. Oh my God, what's happening? It's so quiet. And the lights are dim. It's so dark in here. Oh my God, this must be Satan's work. Oh my God, this is horrible. Let me out of here. And again, you take your friend's hand and you say, it's okay. Just wait. The best is yet to come. And your friend is okay, okay. And you tell the friend, trust me, the best is yet to come. And so everything is dead quiet for about a minute or two, and everything is very dark in the concert hall. All of a sudden, this little spotlight comes on the stage, and the conductor shows up on stage, and everybody in the concert hall is clapping their hands, rooting for the conductor. And your friend again is freaking out. Oh my God, what is that? Is that the devil? What's going on? And again, you tell your friend, trust me, calm down. The best is yet to come. Just wait. And so dead silence again. And all of a sudden, the conductor walks up to his podium and he raises his stick. And all of a sudden, the orchestra starts to play. And every single person in that orchestra is now all of a sudden emanating little millions of little hearts coming out of their hearts, millions of little red hearts coming out of every instrument. It's filling, it's covering, it's enveloping the whole concert hall. It is now spreading into the audience. It's the most amazing music of love, unconditional love and peace and joy and bliss you've ever heard. All these millions of hearts, I can actually see it. He downloaded a picture into my brain. All these millions of hearts are going up, 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 up through the air, into the ceiling, through the ceiling, into the sky, into the space, into galaxies, into all the universe. And and all of a sudden you turn to your friend and you say, now do you see? Wasn't this worth waiting for? Isn't this the most amazing thing you've ever seen? And your friend is just glowing with love, and because it just pulls you up with it. And then I said to my son Christopher, okay, why are you showing me all this? And he said to me, because you asked where you guys are right now on Earth in this time frame, beginning of June 2017. And now the very end, tail end of that part where the orchestra rehearses and it sounds like chaos, it sounds horrible. And this is what the earth is looking like right now. It's all chaos, it sounds horrible. You just want to run, and like your friend wanted to just bolt and run out of the orchestra hall. And he says, you are at the very end of that rehearsal. You are just before the part where it's silent. And he said to me very adamantly in capital letters, do not mistake the calm for the calm before the storm. There isn't going to be a storm. This calm is going to be the calm before the most amazing, beautiful event ever in history that anybody has ever seen. And sorry,
Oh
it
no,
touches me every time I
it
talk
touches
about it.
it touches me too. I'm sitting here thinking, how many people I've talked to that just seem, they can't take it anymore. Even Jose just the other day was saying the same thing in the chat. She goes, I can't take this much longer. And so many people feel like that. So many YouTubers that's been covering the Mandela effect have been sort of not putting out as much because everyone's just worn out and just want it to end. And I think this is a very encouraging message that that everyone needs to hear, and it touches me too, and definitely resonates with me. And the funny thing is, this was in June when he made the calm before the not storm, I should say. And then,
And he said, yeah, but do not mistake the calm for the calm before the storm. It's the calm before the most amazing love event in history ever in the universe, in the multiverse, in the galaxy. So that was the beginning of June, first week of June 2017.
well, it almost seems like he was saying the example I just gave you is not the calm before the storm that Trump's going to be bringing up in 4 months or whatever it was later when he made that comment. It's like a separate thing behind the scenes going on, because for a lot of us, if you're not an elite anyway, it won't be this huge storm for you. It's really a storm for the powers that have ruled, and it's going to be a storm for them, but for everyone else, it is going to be this beautiful thing.
Exactly, yeah. And you know what? The downloads with the pictures and the emotions that are, it's so hard to describe, but I can't even use words in our human language to describe what it looked like when I saw all these millions of hearts coming from every heart of every person in that hall and going up, up, up like little balloons, helium balloons flying up through the ceiling and into the sky and into the galaxies. And I mean, it was just amazing. Like I said, I can't even describe it into words.
Yeah, I got a picture of it in my mind, and it's probably nothing like what you got to see. But yeah, I was in band class, so I remember how chaotic it would sound, and that was a perfect analogy of what it feels like right now with, just getting impatient and waiting. But that's such an encouraging message, just hang in there. The best is yet to come. That's the main message.
Yeah, he kept saying, trust me, the best is yet to come.
Wonderful. So was that the end of the June contact?
That was the end of the June contact, and then I didn't hear anything until August, when again when I'm trying to fall asleep, and when I've given up, and all of a sudden he's like knocking on my brain, as I call it, and he's like,
That's the
"Hi,
month of his
mom." Oh,
birthday, right?
it is, yeah. August 9th with his birth was his birthday, yeah.
That's
So it was
awesome.
actually the yeah. So I figured, okay, while you're here, because you hardly ever show up, I'm gonna grill you about the Mandela effect.
Awesome. What did he say about that?
Okay, so I actually wrote that one down as well. Um, so if you don't mind me just reading, because I wrote it down in
No, please
like
do.
I did,
That's perfect.
I asked him, okay, so tell me about the Mandela effect. What is that all about? Because we're all dying to find out. Excuse me. And I saw a picture of him, and he's snickering and giggling, and he couldn't stop laughing. He's got his fist in front of his mouth, going, like, and mischief on his face as usual. He was a big, big mischief with a big smile. And so I said to him, "What's so darn funny?" I think I may have used another word. What's so flippin' funny? And he said to me, Mom, the Mandela effect is all us in capital letters. We are the ones doing it. Our higher selves, our oversouls on the other side are doing it. It's so funny to watch ourselves from up here. It's like watching ants. You guys down there are in a so-called computer game matrix, and it was originally set up eons ago on Earth for experience, but it was hijacked by the darkies. Our higher selves split up into many, many aspects to infiltrate the system from within to get rid of the dark ones. And then he said, we are all one in capital letters. And then he continues saying, just think of every soul on earth as a beautiful grain of sand. Each is unique. Each is like a piece of glass inside a kaleidoscope. It is always the same pieces and all contained in the same container, but with every turn you make, it shows a different picture. We had forgotten who we really are, and so we, our higher selves, needed to send ourselves a reminder through fun and play, with the Mandela effect logos changing and all that cute stuff, right? So we would not feel threatened or think it's evil stuff. We needed to put a fun spin on things to remind ourselves of our heritage, to find our way home. We had decided to play hide and seek and got lost for a very, very long time. It started out as a fun game, but we all got so lost on Earth. Now it's time to wake up. Now, the reason we had decided to use Nelson Mandela is because we wanted to actually get the message across to ourselves that we are each a grain of beautiful sand, just like the Tibetan monks do when they make mandalas. We are all unique and beautiful pieces of sand that make up that whole mandala that is so painstakingly put together by so many Tibetan monks with so much love and meditation and dedication. And when it is all finished, it creates a beautiful picture of oneness through love. God will say a prayer, mix all the sand together into a beautiful rainbow pile of grains of sand, and take it to the river and dump it in there with a blessing of love that will be carried all over the world through the water. And yeah, and that was the end of that
That
transmission for that.
that is amazing. I've just pulled up some pictures. I didn't even know about these Tibetan mandalas. They're real colorful. Are they rugs or they made out of
No,
sand?
actually, and you know what? I didn't know anything about it either. And I actually had to go on YouTube after I got all that information to see how this works. And so there's actually YouTube videos that you can check in to see how they make the mandalas. And it takes them about 2, 3 weeks. And they literally take colored grains of sand with a tweezer. And every single grain of sand is painstakingly put together on this big, if you will, and careful not to bump it to make this pattern, right? And so it takes some weeks and weeks and weeks, and then the Dalai Lama will come and bless it, and then, like I said, shake it all up, and you can see it on the YouTube videos how he does it, and then he takes it outside to the river and he blesses it all, and then of course every single grain of sand with the blessing and prayers and love goes into the water, which of course goes all over the world, right? So yeah, that was interesting. After getting that message, I had to look it up because I mean, I've heard of mandalas, but I thought they were painted. I never heard of this grains of
Oh
sand stuff.
wow,
So
this is so wild. It looks solid, but it's really just loose sand that's creating these images. That's so
yeah,
incredibly detailed.
and yeah, so that's his information on the Mandela effect. I mean, that's
And that totally resonates with me because I've had so many things I was so close to that just made no sense why they were affected. It was almost like, you know, it was done on purpose. And I've thought that many times. I knew it was a wake up call for sure. I mean, I don't really try to push that theory on people, but there's still people out there that's pushing the whole fear message with it. This is
mhm.
the devil doing it. And I'm like, there's no way it's been that way for me. For me, it totally, I went from feeling so down and depressed in life to feeling so
Mhm.
alive and awake and realizing my purpose again and stuff. So for me, that's not true. And I really feel like if for anyone who will just look at it positively, they will have the same revelation I did. Because at first I was startled by it, but when I considered, could this be a good thing? It's like my mind just opened up to all of this downloaded information about what it's all about and everything. So it's been a good thing for me.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. I mean, the Mandela effect to me is I've got a laundry list of personal Mandela effects. That are just like at least 20 of them that, it blows me away. And it's what blows me away about the Mandela effect is it's not just another affirmation, or it's not just another prayer, or it's not just another guardian angel or archangel coming to give you a message. This Mandela effect is hardcore, like tangible proof that your reality is changing. Tangible, like you can, I mean, one minute there's, you know, I don't like. I've had so many experiences. I can't even get into it. Yeah, it
I,
it just blows me away.
yeah, I mean, even Eileen had the one where I don't know if you saw the one channel video where she was talking about how she had gotten her tires all changed to a different brand, and now, and even the tire guy remembered her coming in and getting them changed, but now it's like her visit into the tire shop, one of them never happened. Even the charge on her credit card or whatever for it went away. And it's like she never got that
Oh,
nail in her tire, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so wild. And the guy even remembered her coming in, but yet it's like it never happened now.
I know it's really freaky. I mean, I can share with you a couple of things that happened to me. The first one that was like just about knocked me over is across the street from me is a little park I always go to, and there's a school on the playground and a community hall, and I walk it all the time. And there's just an empty green field. There's nothing there. And when I got into all this Mandela effect, this is beginning of May. I went for a walk, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there is two like soccer goals. The metal bars for a soccer goal.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? The metal bars, and they're painted white, so you can have your goal and play soccer. And all of a sudden, there's two soccer goals there, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. I've never seen that before. They must have just put it here on the weekend. So I go up to them, both of them, and the paint is flaking off. It's rusty on the bottom. It's like it's been there for 5 years. I'm like, okay, this is really freaky. This must be a Mandela effect. And then I kind of figure, okay, well, I don't know, whatever. So, and then 2 weeks later, I go back to the same park, and all of a sudden now there's four. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I go up to the other extra twos, and again, same thing. The paint is chipped off. The bottom of these bars is all rusty. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? And I'm taking pictures of them. And then about a couple of months after that, all of a sudden, two more appeared right in front of the children's playground. And again, I went up to them, and it's like, that's never been here before. Trust me, I walk this little park every day, right? And again, paint is chipped off and it's rusty on the bottom. And that just was definitely confirmation for me
That is so
that
wild.
something
The
had
same
happened.
thing happened to me with a one of those bus shelters. There was a bus shelter that showed up, and I'm like, oh, they put up a bus shelter. But then when I looked close, you could see the what do you call it? The sidewalk, the concrete around it
Yeah,
wasn't
the
new.
concrete.
It had been there. You could tell it had been there for years. Like it just always been there. I'm like, oh my god. But I never even mentioned that because I know most people would be like, yeah, you're just mistaken or something, But
I
yeah, I've seen
know.
a few like that.
It's crazy. And another one that happened is I have an old photo album from my grandmother, and it's packed full. I know every single picture in there, old black and whites, and then from the 40s, World War II, blah blah blah, and then all the way up until when she passed away in 2010. And so while all of this was happening with the Mandela effect, I pull it out and I look at it, and I'm like, holy cow! There's like eight more little black and white pictures in there. I've never seen them before. And there was also other pictures in there from the 70s where she took a vacation into Austria with my other grandmother, my dad's mom. So, and both of them, both my grandmothers, never saw eye to eye. They hardly made it through Christmas or Easter holidays together for a couple of hours in the same room. Never mind going on vacation together. I'm like, are you kidding me? So that was like, holy cow, not only are new pictures in there, the second half of the photo album is now officially empty. And that just knocked me off my socks. Are you kidding me? Like, I know photo album. I've looked at it a million times. It was always packed full.
Do you know which
So
photos are gone? Like, did you recognize any of the
uh,
missing ones?
just some of my cousins and me, and yeah. But
That is
I mean, I
so
can email
wild.
them.
That reminds me of have you seen any of Lone Eagle's videos where he shows these
Yeah.
photos from way back and video from way back, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen any footage like this.
Oh, I know it's so crystal clear, right? From World War I and World War II. So I don't know what's going on, but things are changing, and I think timelines are merging. And another big one, my very, very first Mandela effect that totally knocked me off my socks. Um, okay, so when I drive to work, I drive past a hardware store here in Canada, and it's called Rona, Rona. And I drive by it all the time. And so it just had regular letters, Rona, no fancy whatever fonts or whatever, right? And
Right.
every time I drive past it, I say a little prayer to my girlfriend Rona in Florida, which I only know from Facebook, but we've been friends for like 6 years now. A few years ago, when I lived in Okanagan in BC, I had to go to a Rona hardware store, and I actually took a picture with my old cell phone and I sent it to her on Facebook. This is 2014. And I said to her, Rona, look at this. You know, we have a store up here. And she's like, oh my God, that's so cool. We don't have that in America. That's so cool that you guys have a hardware store called Rona up in Canada. And thank God I took that picture. So that was 2014. Fast forward to 2017 in May when I drove to work. Like I'm driving by all the time. I see this and it's Rona, regular letters. And all of a sudden I'm driving to work and the last letter, letter A, is not a regular A anymore. It's now an upside down V. It's missing the middle bar and it has like three lines on the side. I'm like, what the heck? And I just about lost it. Yeah, I just made it to work. I drove into the parking lot, and here I am frantically on my cell phone looking for residuals on the Rona website to find old photos of the old original font, the spelling, to see, well, maybe they just changed it because they want to increase their business. You know how business is always new, improved, blah, blah, blah. And I could not for the world of me find any residuals. So I emailed Jinx Cat, actually, Jinx Effect, Jinx Cat. She made a video out of that. And then I emailed it to my friend Rona in Florida. And I said, guess what? Guess what? Do you remember the letters Rona? And it was just regular. And now the A at the end has changed into an upside down V and it has weird lines. And she said, yeah, no, I still remember like just regular letters. And I said, well, look at this. It's changed. And have you heard of the Mandela effect? And look, Jinx effect or Jinx Cat made a video out of the Rona store and you, because I told her about it. Would you like to look at this? And so I got no reply for a couple of days. And I'm like, maybe she didn't get my email. And so I emailed her. I said, Rona, did you get my email from, this hardware store? And Jinx Cat just made a video out of it. And she said, yep. And I said, well, what do you think? Do you know have you heard of the Mandela effect? And she said, yeah, I have. Thanks. Bye. I was like, okay.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh, it gets better. Guess what? Here I am looking for residuals on the internet. I can't find anything. I'm digging upstairs through all my old phones, my old cell phones. I find the picture of when I took it in 2014 of the Rona store with the regular printing. And I'm frantic, like my hands are shaking. Oh my God, I found the picture. It must be the old way. And I blow it up with my hands. I look at it, and it had changed to the new way, to the upside down V with the lines. How does that work?
I know that's what's so freaky about this whole thing. It took me, I don't know, probably 2 months to get over that whole thing because I'd remember something, like the thinker statue, for instance. I remember when it had changed. I was like, I remember this from something else. What was it? And then I remembered it was Mr. Wizard's World, and I was like, oh, that's what I'll do. I'll look up the intro to Mr. Wizard's World, and there will be the proof I need. And then I look it up, and it's changed, and it's all old looking, like it's always been that way. And I'm like, oh my god, everything's really changed. That's what makes this such a paradox, you know?
Wow, no kidding, right? And I mean, the same with the Berenstein books. I remember it as, I actually remember them as Bernstein, Bernstein. And I remember reading them to my boys in the mid 90s, you know, and I had packed them all away into a box and I moved a million times. And I just like gone through all my stuff in September last year. And here's all the baby books. And I'm like, oh my God, Berenstein books. Let's see what it says. And it says Berenstain, Stain. And then when I opened it up, I know, and I opened it up and it says it was printed in 1990 or 1992, don't quote me, but early 90s. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I remember them being actually Bernstein, not Berenstein, but Bern, Bernstein, because the name Bernstein, Bernstein in German means amber, you know, the amber that comes out of a tree's sap and you make
Right.
jewelry out of it. So every time I was reading these books, it kind of made me think of Amber Bernstein. So there's no stain, there's no Stain. I know that 1,000,000% for sure. I've heard of other people saying, yeah, I remember Bernstein, not Berenstein. So there's like no, now there's like three people or three versions out there, right?
Right. That's so wild. And the whole, just the way it changed. I've had people like the one video I did when I noticed the change in the Golden Child, and they'll leave a comment and they'll say, "Oh, that must just be a different copy. I've got the VHS copy, and it's the way you're saying it used to be." And I'm like, "Did you actually go look at it?" Because people don't think their video can change, but it's and you can't get them to go look because it's such an unbelievable thing. They're like, "No, I know how it is. I've seen it already." And I'm like, "Go look
Mhm.
again and send me the video." And I've yet to have someone go look at it, record it with their phone, and send it to me because if they ever
Mhm.
did go look at it, it would have changed and they would have had their mind blown. But most people don't ever even go
Mhm.
look, I don't think.
So yeah, I don't know how you explain that, how that works. I mean, the only thing I can think of, um, going back to we all have different aspects, and like Dolores Cannon also says that um, every time you scratch your nose, you create another alternate timeline with another you. Or if you have, you know, you get up in the morning and you have a cup, or you don't know, should I have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? And one Shane says, okay, I'm going to have a cup of tea this morning. And then, you know, I'm not going to have the cup, I'm going to have a cup of coffee this morning. And the other you kind of says, well, I could have had tea, but I don't feel like it. But that other you is now, has now created another timeline. So the thing with the logos changing, what I'm thinking is it goes back to the original designer of the logos sitting at the drawing desk going, should I call these books Bernstein or Bernstein? Or, you know, should I put a little tag in between the Kit Kat logo? Or, you know, should I do Chick-fil-A with a C or a CK? And so that person at the drawing desk is actually creating more timelines, and one he's going with because all his consciousness is focusing pivoted into that direction, all the energy, and the other one is kind of like on autopilot, if you will. And so now they're all merging together. This is the time, the end times we're in right now, where everything merges together. All of our aspects are coming together and they want to be brought home into our higher selves, into our oversouls. And this is why you have different logos showing up, because the creator behind the logos, you know, had like, okay, should I go with option A or option B? And so both of them exist. You know what I mean? That's what I think, anyways.
Yeah, and some of them, like the Bernstein, that was like named after a person, so it's like their name, the history of their name changed. The same way with J.C. Penney, it's like that their name has always been Panay now, you know?
Okay, yeah. It sounds more expensive. Maybe that's the whole idea.
Yeah, it does sound fancier. Panay, J.C. Panay. Okay, so we kind of got off on a Mandela track, which I love the Mandela effect. Don't get me wrong, but there was one more contact with in December that you had with your son. That was the last one that you actually had. Did you get a download that time?
December 2017, just before Christmas, middle of December was my last download from him. really quick with a picture download. Again, I was just starting to fall asleep, and he's like, "Mom, Mom, how are you?" Blah blah blah, and I got a very, very, very clear picture of him sitting on this big rock. Summertime is really hot. He's got, I know this sounds weird, he's got a bottle of beer in his right hand, and he said to me, "The worst is now behind us. We are finished building the healing domes. Now we're all just chillaxing and taking it easy. And then we're going to focus on the inside of the healing domes. And we're going to concentrate on getting the sound therapy. There's going to be sound therapy, color therapy, aromatherapy. There's going to be crystal therapy, um, and like different yeah, crystals, did I mention it? Yeah. And so they're focusing on the inside of the healing domes, and basically the worst is behind them. And the way he said it was, there was like a pause after that, and it almost sounded like a metaphor that was coming from Jesus as well, because I could actually feel him right next to him too. And it was taken for us too, that the worst is now behind us. We can all just have a beer and chillax. And now we're just focusing on the little details of the inside of the healing domes. And just before he disappeared and said bye, I could feel, but not see, I could feel the energy of Jesus around the two of us, all three of us tied together. And I could I heard the message from Jesus saying, "It is finished."
Oh, that
And
is
that
so
is what he
awesome.
said. I know, that's what he said on the cross, didn't he?
Yes, and I think a lot of us are. I don't drink or anything, but I'm definitely ready for Miller time.
Yeah, no kidding. Just, I think the worst is behind us. And I know we've all, it's been a long haul the last year or two, ever since 2012, actually, December 21st, 2012, and everybody was hoping this is it, we're going to enter the new age and blah, blah, blah. Nothing happened. But, if you go back to the calendar, it's been changed from the Caesar calendar to the Gregorian calendar. And I heard that we're actually off by 5 years, that now is like the time is when it was happening. It's happening now, and this is why we're all burnt out. We're burnt out light workers, burned out from caregiving for this planet, for trying to help everybody, for trying to wake everybody up and healing. And we're done. We're done. We're so done. And we, like you said, some of the people in the chat room are saying, "Oh my God, when is this over? We can't." We're all hanging on to a thread by our last little pinky nail, and it's like, to get confirmation from him that this is it, the worst is behind us, and you know, it is finished, is what Jesus said.
Yeah, and I think like that last broadcast where they were saying just to meditate and get ready because it's about to happen. So really just work on self at this point.
Yeah, and that's the messages I've been getting too from also my guides, to just go inward, focus on yourself. Don't think that it's selfish, because you need to make sure you're grounded, you're protected, you're strong, because you have to be a lighthouse for when the people wake up. And don't go around trying to save people anymore. It's finished. Everybody has to take responsibility for themselves right now, and we're done babysitting. Just stay strong, be the lighthouse, shine your light. Whoever wants to be in that light will come to you automatically, and wake up with that automatically. So yeah, we don't have to be on our soapbox anymore and preach and try to convert, which I've never wanted to do anyways. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
now it's
it's so funny that you said it because I go back to the healing centers that your son was preparing, and I'm thinking let that be an encouragement for those people who have been trying to wake people up and they don't seem to be waking up. Don't worry, there's healing centers for those people. So
mhm.
don't stress yourself out trying to wake people up that don't want to be waking up. They'll be cared for. They're loved. I mean, whether they want it or not, they'll be taken care of and loved, whether they believe it or not, I should say.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so too.
Well, this has been awesome, and I definitely want to have you back again,
Oh, thank you.
especially if you
Yes,
get
this
some
was
more
awesome.
information.
Yeah, I like I said, I tried last night to connect with him before this interview, but nothing came through. So, he wanted to just get this information out that I gave you, and I think that's a lot to digest right now. I mean, I've had the last year to go over it and digest it. So, take your time. Watch it a few times if you need to, and take whatever you can get from it. And if it doesn't ring true for you, then if it doesn't resonate with you, then step away from it. If it does, then that's awesome. And if I could help just one soul on this planet to feel more encouraged, to feel more hopeful, to keep going, carry on, be strong, shine your light, don't give up, then that's awesome. I have completed my mission.
Well,
Thank
you've
you.
at least done that for me, and I know dozens of others that are subscribed that will see this, and it will definitely resonate with them. So I really appreciate you sharing this, personal encounter really with your son from the other side. And it really validates what I say all the time about these are just meat suits. This isn't,
Hmm.
this isn't really us. These are basically transportation suits we're in down here, and our consciousness is so much grander than these bodies we find ourselves in. And there is more. So even for people who's lost people, know that they are out there somewhere, and we'll be reunited with them.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, I get so many signs from him every day that he's communicating with me. But I won't get into that today. That's we can do another session. But or if people want to like privately email me with their stories of loved ones in heaven that have communicated with them, please, by all means, please do share your stories with me. I would love to read every single one and reply to them and let you know that there is life after death and we all carry on.
Definitely, yes. Everyone, definitely leave your comments below and contact information, and we can move forward from there. Well, lots of love and light to you, Angela. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Shane, and lots of love and light to you too.
Okay, bye bye. Wow, what an incredible experience. Thanks so much to Angela, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.